Welcome to Immigration Unpacked, real legal help for immigrants.
Hello and welcome to Immigration Unpacked, real legal help for immigrants with Kevin J. Stewart. Kevin is a dedicated immigration attorney committed to helping individuals and families across California and beyond. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today's episode is all about one of the most common and most competitive employment visas, the H-1B. Kevin, welcome.
Yeah, hi Kevin.
It's good to see you again. This is obviously something that is in the news quite a bit these days. So just to get this out of the way, can you just first start by explaining exactly what the H-1B visa is and who typically qualifies for it?
Sure. So H-1B is a non-immigrant visa. It's a temporary work visa for folks who are able to fill needs of mostly tech companies right now, but it does cover a wide range of occupations. These are called specialty occupations, and you do need to have a bachelor's degree or higher in order to qualify for one of these H-1B visas. Now, there has been a lot of news lately about changes in the rules for H-1Bs. This was rolled out in late September that there would be a $100,000 fee connected with any H-1B, a new H-1B. And there was a lot of confusion around this because people who are already here in the US or maybe were traveling weren't sure that they could get back in without paying the fee. It turns out that that wasn't an issue for most people who already have H-1Bs. So it is a big deal right now that we're dealing with how this was rolled out.
Is it the assumption that the companies pay this $100,000? Because obviously a lot of just individuals can't really afford that.
Sure. And that is how it's set up. And in H-1B world, there are several fees that that have to be paid by the petitioner, the employer. And this would have been one of those. And well, I say would have been, it's being litigated right now. We don't know if it will actually, come to pass. The way the administration worded the rule, it was an entry fee requirement, which I think the administration felt that this would make it possible to charge the fee as a requirement of coming back into the country. But the thing is that it was also written to require it at the time that the petition is filed. So it's really confused situation. But yeah, this would be for employers. And frankly, there aren't any employers that are going to jump at the chance to pay $100,000. They would go to a different, it would basically shut the program down effectively.
Yeah, it'd have to be a company with some pretty deep pockets and a severe need for a certain type of person.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you're going to offshore that need to avoid the getting hit with that
Mm-hmm.
kind of fee.
Typically, what's the timeline for the H-1B process from registration to approval?
One of the things that people need to understand is that if you apply for, or if you have a company that's applying for you, and they're called subject to what we call the cap. Now, the cap is there's 85,000 of these visas available each year, and there have been roughly 400,000 petitions submitted over the years each year, and so there's not enough to go around.
Mm-hmm.
So what they have is they have a lottery for um, what we call cap subject employers. There are employers, nonprofits, research institutions, universities. They're not subject to the cap. So an employer who is in that category can submit a petition anytime. They don't have to go through the lottery. And the lottery situation is your company submits registration for you as the potential employee. And if you're picked in the lottery, then you can submit petition. It runs basically from April, well, late March actually. April, they announce who the lottery selections are, and then that petition has to be filed in June, by the end of June, and then the position starts in the fiscal year, which is already always October 1st.
Is it a truly random lottery, or do they weigh different things?
Yeah, great question. So it's random in the sense that you compete among all of the registrants, but there's a second chance, kind of. So um, everybody goes into the initial pool of lottery picks, and there are selections done in that round, but then there's always another round that involves just masters or higher. So it's an advantage to have a master's because you have like an additional shot at it. But
Mhm.
overall, the percentages of picks in 10-15% is normal.
And aside from that second chance with a master's degree, are there any other backup options if you don't make the lottery, or is that just you're out of luck?
Well, you're out of luck for that fiscal year. So what you would do is you would, whatever status that you're in, try to maintain that. A lot of people are F1 OPT, which allows them to work after they finish their education programs. But then that runs out usually. So, you kind of have what, 2 or 3 rounds uh, trying to get into H-1B through the lottery, and then if you don't make it, you you could try a cap exempt employer, or you could try another category like O1A, possibly.
For the on the employer side, what they want to if they want to sponsor an H-1B, what obligations and compliance issues do they need to be aware of?
Sure. So there is an employment uh, salary level that they have to maintain, and that is set in what we call the labor condition application, the LCA. That's filed with the H-1B petition. What that does is it sets the minimum wage level that has to be paid for that position. And so that the employer has to stay within that. They have posting rules for the position. You have to post when you submit the petition, when you submit the LCA, before you submit the petition, actually, and then you have to maintain a file for public access to show that you went through the process and followed all the rules of making the application and petition for the employee.
What are some of the most common mistakes you see that lead to denials or even requests for evidence?
So these are fairly technical petitions, and there's a lot that you need to submit. You need to submit a complete history of the potential employee. You have to submit their proof of their educational background. You have to submit proof of their ability to fill the position based on their resume, based on that match to the job description. It's all pretty tight. You have to show that they are, if they're in the United States already, that they've had authorized stay. So that really is a lot of documentation for that level. The company has to show that it's legit. It has to have articles of incorporation if those are needed. It has to have a history of the ability to pay. That's also very important. So all of that has to be submitted with the petition. I mean, these packages, they're usually a few hundred pages. They're not huge, but they're pretty big. So those are typically the things that you have to be sure that you have.
So typically, or more often than not, it comes down to paperwork.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork that is assumed to be there when you submit the petition. And denials are. I mean, we, bragging here, but we haven't seen any denials, and we
Brag
don't
away,
expect
Kevin.
them.
Brag away. It's your podcast.
Yeah, we don't expect them. It's not hard to put a good package together for these folks. Yeah, that's actually something about H-1Bs that we like, is that these are usually very meticulous folks, mostly tech people, but we've had chiropractors, we've had a lot of doctors are H-1B petition. These folks have a very good handle on documentation, and the companies usually, with some guidance, are able to put these together pretty well.
When someone's here on an H-1B, do they have the freedom to move to a different job should they desire to?
Well, you can. You have to stay within the same specialty occupation that you were, well, roughly, but I mean, it has to be within that same area. And you can change. We call that change of employer. It's actually a new petition that is filed by the new employer, but assuming that you still have your H-1B status, you have some time on that. They're 3-year increments. You have the first 3 years, then you can renew for 3 more years. And in some situations, you can continue to renew annually after that if you have some other approved, well, what is the term I'm looking for? If you have approved green card, immigrant visa path stuff, the I-140 petition, for example, that's approved, you can renew for annuals after that.
Boy, if this $100,000 thing happens, someone's going to be real mad if someone jumps ship, huh? It's got
Well,
to be some sort of contract provisions there.
it's actually a good point, in the sense that the that kind of investment, it's, again, it's not really meant to pay off. You're not gonna, I mean, you're not, in some cases, you're not even paying the employee that much
Mhm.
annually. So what, it doesn't really kind of make any sense.
Yeah. Can H-1B holders eventually transition to permanent residency?
Yeah, I was sort of touching on that a little bit. So what happens is, while you're in H-1B status, you can pursue a green card through the company that you're working for example. They can sponsor you on what we call perm, and you can get that status through the company. There are also independent ways that you can apply for a green card based on your own skills through the EB1A, EB2 NIW processes. You can do that independently of the company. So there are ways that you can pursue a green card.
We started at the top of the show talking about all the confusing changes and how things are very fluid right now, and not really sure what's going to happen, and all this stuff. What, for anyone listening today, wondering about how the H-1B is going to work going forward, what kind of advice do you give them?
Yeah, just stay tuned, work with your employer. Don't assume anything. I feel bad for people who spent thousands of dollars traveling back to the US thinking that they would be subject, or their company would be subject to this fee. It's really a shame. There's no way to help with that. And of course, we didn't know as practitioners what the issue was going to be with this. It's also being litigated right now. So the $100,000 program may not, that fee may not even be an issue down the road.
That might not even come into it, are a lot of, I'm imagining a lot of employers are hitting pause on this right now.
Yeah, I think they're hitting pause on it. It's wait and see.
Yeah.
Um, I think we would have to have some kind of answer as we go into the beginning of next year, when the lottery would start up. There, real quickly, there are some other changes that I think have more of a chance of going through, and that would be changes to the lottery. And what that would be is including a preference for employees that make a higher salary. So right now, your salary is set by this LCA that I mentioned, but what they're looking at now is actually making the lottery suggest selection based more on the level of pay that you would get in the position. And the idea is that this sort of reserves H-1B for the more highly skilled employees so that it would not impact lower wage. There's this idea out there that these are low wage people because they're immigrants and they can be taken advantage of. They take jobs away from workers
Yeah.
that are US born citizens, whatever. I don't think that the statistics bear this out at all, but it's a perception. There are programs that probably do give some advantage to companies that want to bring lower wage workers, but H-1B really is not that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of misperceptions out there, or misconceptions out there about immigration right now. So always love
Yeah.
having you on here to clear some things up. Well, thanks for tuning in to Immigration Unpacked, real legal help for immigrants with Kevin J. Stewart. If you're an employer planning to sponsor an H-1B worker or professional hoping to apply, visit oaklandimmigrationlaw.com to connect with Kevin and get the right guidance. And don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review. We always appreciate that too. Kevin, thanks so much for the insight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.